Welcome to the Global Love Revolution, a space to have conversation with evolutionary women to talk about subjects that matter to our humanity to create a better world for future generation. This is an evolutionary channel that broadcasts every Sunday. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, click the subscribe button below. Today, episode number 3, we have a super evolutionary woman from London, UK, Bola Abimbola. She is going to usher us in diving deeper into the topic of spirituality and the connections of self. Before we go into our chat, let me share with you a little bit about Bola. Bola is a certified Reiki energy healing practitioner. She is a practitioner, member of the Reiki Academy London, and a member of the Complementary and Natural Healthcare Council in United Kingdom. After over 15 years of working in policy and healthcare management in the National Health Service in the United Kingdom, she decided to focus on disability rights. She is also an independent special educational needs and disability legal advisor and a trauma recovery coach. She is so thankful to be a mother of 2 wonderful young men in their early 20s. She loves the sea. She loves writing, reading, old school music, good food, dancing, watching films, theater, traveling, dining, and simply chilling in stillness. Her favorite thing to do is to just chill, meditate, and to engage in conscious awakening, spirituality, and global consciousness, which she's very passionate about. Now, here are the pictures that you can see. She is just love to be in a state of chilling. Now, if you want to learn about how to be in a peaceful, calm beingness, and I think Bola would be the perfect person you can hang out with. And you want to check out more and learn about Bola, here is a website at www.soulspacehealing.com. All right, without delay, let's go into our chat, and I will see you there. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Global Love Revolution. Today, I have a special guest from London, UK, Bola Abimbola. Welcome, Bola, to this wonderful space. Hey, good to see you again. Today we got to discuss something even deeper.
It's nice
right?
to be here. It's nice to be here.
So, we are going to talk about spirituality, but we're going in even deeper, talking about true self. Now, I'm very excited. This couple of days, I've been thinking, what exactly is true self? And how can I connect it with that part of me? It's so hard, especially with living in this new society that people keep on giving me so many different beliefs. They're trying to make me believe. And I lost myself. I truly lost myself. I'm sure a lot of people out there asking the same question. What exactly is true self? Perhaps, Bola, you can help us, on this and define. What's your definition on that?
True self. Well, I think true self is kind of linked to spirituality. So if I define spirituality the way I define it, because definitions are something that are quite semantic, and two people may be talking about the same thing, but because they put different labels to it, it sounds like they're two different things. So definitions can be quite individual and subjective. So spirituality to me is my connection with the God force, with God. Basically, it's about my understanding that I am an image of God, and that image of God is evolving in a spiritual self. And that spiritual self is our true self. That true self that is actually embodying the essence of love, essence of peace, and it has an intelligence of its own. Our connection with God provides us with true wisdom, true intelligence that allows us to contribute and participate, providing a deeper quality in our interactions, a more meaningful quality in the outcomes that we see and in the interactions that we have. And that is our true self, and it's quite different from the ego self, which is
there's another self. Wow.
There is this ego self that is, if you're going to define it according to humanistic psychology, it would be a composition of perceptions and self, beliefs, of values that have been conditioned personally or socially. And these are embedded within us. And some of these experiences have been positive, some have been negative. So the ego self is not particularly at peace because it's in this tussle, it's this constant tussle, trying to come to terms with some of the ambiguities within itself, which is very different from the spiritual self, which is our true self. So the ego self is a creation, it's an illusion of who we really are.
So Bola,
if we are going to...
So I just have a question now that, so a lot of time we're surrounding with people, right? Like earlier I'm saying, people started to instill some belief that they thought is true. So what I say is like a false belief or false ideas that they think the way we should act in a certain way. And they ask you to believe that. So is that when you believe what they believe, is that an ego self acting, or is that the true self?
Any belief is really about the ego self.
Ah, okay.
But it's a function. It's a function of our own subjective beliefs and perceptions and values. What tends to happen is we are conditioned. We're conditioned by society or by our own experiences. So what you just said now, if somebody believes something and you also come to believe in that thing, it is a conditioning. You have been conditioned. You have been programmed in a way.
Wow.
And that programming could be positive or negative. And really, I think our goal in life, really, and as an individual and as a coach, my goal is to reduce the negative conditioning within the ego self and shift in such a way that the ego self is not driving my life. The ego self is not the one making the decisions about what I do on a daily basis within my different roles, whether as a mother or as a sister or as a friend or a wife. And it's really about how we can begin to release some of this conditioning that are creating challenges and limitations in our lives, releasing some of them in order for us to shift into the spiritual self, the true self, being the driver of our lives. And that really is the essence of life, I think. Just coming to, having that as a goal, whereby your ego self is not the one driving your life. And the more we let go of this conditioning, the more the spiritual self, which has its own intelligence, begins to drive our lives.
Well, it sounded like we are not trying to get rid of the ego self. The ego self still can be a passenger, but we need to make sure we let our spiritual self be the driver, right? Lead our way. Yes. And we basically have to embrace both of them, but just to make sure that we always sit on the driver's seat. Right?
The spiritual self.
The spiritual self.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes,
interesting.
We cannot get rid of the ego self, because the ego self is involved in so many roles and activities. Unless we find ourselves in a mountain somewhere, where we are away from society, away from civilization, and we don't have to engage with people. But as long as
Right.
we have to engage in, in different roles, in our daily lives,
Mm.
we will have elements of the ego self that we will be utilizing and using to experience life. But it really should, we should be coming from a place, or we should work towards,
Mm.
we should work towards a situation or a shift whereby that ego self is not driving our lives anymore. It becomes a passenger. That word you
Ah.
use, passenger, is critical. It becomes a passenger in our life.
Mhm.
And we actually experience more inner peace in this way.
Oh
When our
wow.
spiritual self,
Mm.
our true self, is the driver of our lives, we actually experience more inner peace. And we also are able to provide more qualitative and meaningful interactions with people around us. Our contributions are
Mm.
valued more. And we also work towards the evolution of that spiritual self, which is another
Ah.
matter entirely.
That is huge. That is huge. I think we are all yearning for that.
Mm,
Evolving, become the much more high evolved spiritual being. And
yeah,
actually live, when we're talking about we want to live a big life, want to dream about our life, actually
yeah,
this is a way to go, to allow
yeah,
our spiritual self to come and play outside of us, right? And then lead
yeah.
us the way. So Bola, I wonder how did you came to understand this true self, the concept of true self? Is it, did you know it all the way your life, or it is some kind of event that triggered you and you started to realize, I
Hmm,
need to connect
hmm,
to that part of me, and I know it's
yeah,
gonna help me to get out from certain things.
yeah. I was I mean, I think the first thing I should say is I think humans, as human beings, we tend
Mm,
to engage in sustainable change when we
mm,
go through severe or extreme pain or extreme pleasure. So we are motivated to change when we
mm.
have those, either of those two extremes. And I was motivated to change because I went through quite extreme pain for over many years. I think my very first, in my childhood, for instance, I mean, I have
Mhm,
lots of good and bad memories in my childhood. But one of the memories that was substantively negative in my childhood was the death of my
mhm,
father. And in any family, when your father passes away, there is a depletion of various things. It could be financial, it could be love, it could be influence, or a particular standpoint in society. I definitely had a personal, very, very individual sense of loss when my father died.
mm,
And I started going through depression at that time, and even as a child. And
mhm,
as we know, depression is when there is that you know lack of capacity to feel pleasure or pain.
mm,
There is a disorganization within you. There is no clarity. There is a very unhealthy relationship with sleep. You're either sleeping too much or sleeping too little, and also a very unhealthy relationship with food. I was eating a lot of times and not eating enough, and looking after myself at times. And I had very low self-esteem, a feeling of self-worth. I felt like I wasn't worthy. And there were so many other things that went on in my life, because when you are in that place, you're making very poor decisions
mm.
about your life. Um, and for many years, I went through that, and it I came to a place where I felt motivated for more peace. I wanted something that would feel different, that would feel better than what I had.
So
And I
Bola,
got
that
through, yeah.
Yeah, so okay, that's interesting. So you were in that kind of roller coaster zone, right? Keep on up and
Yeah.
down, up and down. When was that point you say you're motivated? I'm curious, like the way, when is that peak point you started to realize, I need to get out from this loop? And what was that
Hmm.
that you kind of like awakening your the part of you and say, like that's the moment I need to find my spiritual self. It sounded like it's that, but what triggered you? It might be something, is it a people, there's some people like came to you and say, hey, wake up, Bola, I can help you. Come here, come here.
Oh, I
Or
remember reading. I my mum read a lot, and she was actually, she's now retired. She was a librarian,
oh,
so we had lots of books at home, and I um, found a book titled "Who Am I?"
wow.
And I was younger than
Yeah.
18. I think
Mm-hmm.
I was about 16 or 17 at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I became very curious about myself, and I gradually began to read a lot of books. I've read quite a number of books over the years.
Wow.
Uh, and, Eckhart Tolle, Yala Vasanti, um, Deepak Chopra, Marianne Williamson,
Mm-hmm.
Course in Miracles. So I've read quite a bit. And I'm still reading. The journey continues.
Okay.
Um, but I definitely went through a long period, I would say 20 years, 20,
Oh.
25, 30 years of just developing myself and growing. But I will say that I did not know what I was developing. I just knew that I was enjoying a release. I was enjoying an increasing sense of peace within me.
Mm.
And that motivated me to continue. Um, but I started out just wanting something different and being curious. And as time went by, the outcomes I was getting in my life made me continue. But life has so many distractions.
Mm.
I'm a mother. I will be 50 next year. I have two grown-up
Yay!
boys.
Congratulations! Wow, that is a
Thank
big,
you.
big
Um,
journey.
it is
Come
a
to 50.
milestone, but
Make sure you
this is the
celebrate.
best. This is the best time. Honestly, this is the best time of my life.
Oh
It's
gosh.
very interesting.
Wow.
My two boys are now in their 20s.
Oh.
So all of that, and I also have been married. So there is that level of distraction that stops you from really engaging with who you are,
Mm.
because you're really entrenched in all this ego self roles. And it takes a long time, and it takes a lot of courage and determination to persist and to continue to release the conditioning, continue to develop your connection with God force.
Mm.
Um, so yes, it started a long time ago, way
Wow.
before I even turned 18.
Okay,
Which
guys.
thankfully
Yeah.
I was able to continue.
That
But
is so
it is
interesting.
a
Yeah.
journey, and it's ongoing. It's ongoing.
Ongoing. It's a lifelong journey. So, guys,
Yeah.
if you're watching this and you listen to Bala's story, if you are in your early 20, or you just starting to find out you're in your 50 or 60, this is a lifelong journey to find your spiritual being. It's never too
Mm.
late. Yeah, you still have time. But now I'm gonna ask Bola. Bola, what is the most effective tools maybe you can share with people to either,
Mm.
for people wanted to find their spiritual self right now, or someone already on the journey and they want to sustain it? What would be a couple of suggestion that you can provide us so we can start to
Mm.
practice right now?
Yeah, yeah. I would say prayer is one,
Hmm.
meditation, getting in touch with that stillness within you, and
Hmm.
also being clear about what you want. mean, I think meditation is a listening process,
Yep.
while prayer is an expressive process.
Mm.
And you basically begin to get more clarity about who you are and what you want to achieve or what you want your life to look like. So those two tools, I would say, come up tops for me, and I do that daily. I also recommend journaling,
Mm.
just writing your thoughts down, whatever it is. Just get a book and write down what's in your head. Get the thoughts out. There is a process of transformation that occurs when we get our thoughts from our head onto paper. It's
Mm.
kind of therapeutic. I remember writing in my journal. I've been writing for 17 years or so. It's a very long
Wow.
time. And I actually have a memory of me writing in my journal for about 3 pages. I am so angry. Oh, am I angry? I am so angry.
Wow.
Gosh, I am so angry. And I wrote those words for 3 pages, A4 sized book. But I finished the third page and I felt much better. I don't even know what I was angry about now. I can't remember. I probably couldn't remember then as well.
So
But
Bola, when you talk
journaling is a good
about,
tool.
yeah, when you write, did you just like you wrote the same sentence? I'm angry, or did you have a
Oh yes.
reason came out?
Oh
Like
gosh, I didn't even talk about the
you didn't
reason
con-
on
oh,
on
so
that
you just say
particular
I'm angry.
occasion. I was just so angry, and I was writing it all out.
Wow.
Just writing that particular sentence. I am so angry. Gosh, am I angry? I am so angry. Gosh, I am so
Oh
angry.
my
I am
god.
furious. I am so angry. And I
Oh.
wrote that. And those were the feelings that I had within me.
Mm.
At the time, I had so much anger. I was feeling so much contempt for myself, for the world, for everything going on. And that is what trauma, when you've been through a lot of trauma, you turn on yourself. You turn on yourself and you actually do not realize that you are your own best resource. And the
Mm.
self-love, the self-care is critical for your success. Your self-care, you're loving yourself, you're realizing that you are what you love, not what others want of you. You are what you want. And that is a very
Wow.
strong success determinant. But we don't do that when we are in trauma, when we are embedded in that very condensed ego self. We are in a state of self contempt, and it will manifest itself in different ways. It will just play itself
Wow.
out in
Mm-hmm.
addiction, in alcoholism, in different ways. So journaling is a tool that I would recommend. And another tool would be, maybe art
Mm.
therapy. Obviously, any kind of therapy um, comes in handy. But I also love subliminal programming, which is affirmations.
Mm.
Affirmations are positive statements about a particular topic, and you could get them online on YouTube. They are There are some people who respond more to subliminal affirmations than regular affirmations. Subliminal affirmations are affirmations that are buried in music.
Mm-hmm.
So what you hear is the music, but the audio session has been programmed with affirmations that are hidden, but your subconscious can hear them.
Oh.
And the good thing about subliminal affirmations is that they do not have to come against the resistance of the conscious ego. So, because sometimes if you don't believe something and somebody says a statement that is something that is different from what you believe, there is
Mm.
resistance, and it takes a longer time for you to think something different. And if we want to release some of this negative conditioning, we have to begin to think differently. So the subliminal affirmations go straight into our subconscious, and we're able to begin to think differently, even without realizing that we are already releasing the conditioning. It is happening. So subliminal affirmations are, listening to those are a good tool. Um,
Wow.
and I also use Reiki. I am a Reiki practitioner, and that enables me to feel the God force within me,
Mm.
and it also has a healing power.
Mm.
So it actually flows through you and activates your own natural energies in order for you to actually begin to heal within you. So there is a strong spiritual and emotional, as well as physical impact through Reiki, which I have experienced and I do on a daily basis.
Wow.
So those are just one of the tools. There are quite a number, but I think
Excellent.
as the the
That's
really good
great.
thing about
Yeah.
this, Rachel, is that
Mm-hmm.
when we start this work, when we start to engage with our spirituality, with working on our ego self, we actually get guided. God
Mm.
and the universe will guide you to opportunities that will help you to your next step, to your next level. As long as we're willing to engage, willing to move on to the next level, which is about releasing conditioning and allowing the spiritual self to be our driver. As long
Mm.
as we're willing, we will be guided, and we just have to trust that it happens, and it does. It does happen.
Wow. It's a very powerful way that you put it out. It's like there's a couple of really, I would say, juicy wisdom you just told us. One is, you are what you love, how you manifest yourself. It's what you do. So we really have to do the work. So guys, Bola have shared a couple of powerful tools that you can choose. Everyone is different. There's no one size fit it all, but you can choose among. There's so many tools that Paula was just sharing with you. And you just have to choose the one and try out. If it doesn't work for you, you can just eliminate, but keep on going, because as we say, this is a lifelong journey. It might take different timing for different people to discover the spiritual self. So, Bola, I'm so thankful that you share this with us, because I know a lot of people are struggle out there, not sure what to do with it. And there are so many programs outside we're trying to choose from, but you just narrow down a couple of things, right? First is like prayer, meditation, right? And then journaling. I like that part. If you have an emotional crash, you just don't know what to do. I know some people would think, let's throw the plate on the wall, but you're going to break a lot of glasses, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it at home. But journaling might be a good way for you to express your anger or any negative emotion you have. Just kind of like you're having a conversation with yourself. And
Yeah.
then four, try the Reiki, right? If you need some help, I think you can connect with Bola. Bola is a Reiki practitioner, and she can share with you some of the way you can kind of release out your emotion, not just about emotion, but physical and the overall of your being. So, Bola, this is great. Thank you so much again. And I have another question for you. I'm interested to know, what is your current creation and that you want to share with the world? What are you working on right now?
Oh, I have many roles.
What is one thing? What is one unique gift you can
Yeah.
give us all right now?
I think with regards to this, I think my trauma recovery coaching programs, which will be starting in August, September this year,
Hmm.
are something that I'm creating right now. And it's really about supporting individuals one to one, from releasing some of that ego self conditioning. So we have weekly, we will have weekly one to one sessions online, either via Skype or via Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of information about this on my website, soulspacehealing.com. So that is one of the things I'm creating that would really support those who are willing to just have a little bit more peace in their lives, and who are ready to engage in shifting the driver, to the spiritual self. And I'm hoping that I will have lots of people participate in that, because I have a real desire, a true desire to support people in that way.
Oh, that's beautiful. All right, guys, if you're watching this and you feel like Bola is, you resonate with her, what she said, and you want to learn more, go to her website at www.soulspacehealing.com, and there's a link below as well. You can click on it and find out some of the things she is working on right now. Bola, how do you define an evolutionary woman, since we are on the evolutionary women program here?
Yeah. An evolutionary woman is a woman who is curious about who she is, and who is wanting to engage with courage in developing a connection with God force, with the universe, whatever definition you want to put on it. But it's about that connection with the omnipresence around us, such that we can actually shift into having a spiritual self drive our lives. An evolutionary woman is a woman who is wanting to evolve herself into driving her life as a spiritual being, who is aware that she is a spirit, she is a spirit in a physical body, and is wanting to develop that spirit self in a way that contributes more meaningfully to her community, as well as to her own self and to her immediate family. And I think that for me is the essence of what a spirit, of what an evolutionary woman is.
And Bola, you are one of them. And thank you so much. You are a super evolutionary woman.
Rachel.
Oh, thank you so much. Bola, any final nugget for the audience before we close out?
No,
just be love.
For me, it's yes. I know. I think for me, it's about us staying, in love with ourselves. In touch with who we are, and to know that we are loved. We are loved, and we deserve the best. We deserve the best that life has to offer. All the time.
We deserve the life we have. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, just love yourself. Madly in love with yourself. And remember, when you love yourself, and you have to love others as well. So together we can create something magnificent for the world. And we can create this, what we call the global love revolution. Thank you again, Bola. It's fun to play with you today. And guys, next week we will have another episode coming up. So watch out for that. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, make sure you do it right now. Click below button subscribe. And find out more about Bola on this video below. Take care, guys. See you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.